So we'll, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy Ugly Sweater Day. I heard that on the radio coming in, but I didn't get the message until late, right? So anyway, just a little giggle this morning. So I'd like to call this meeting to order at the board members. And I don't know if everybody knows everybody. Denise Gay, Vicki Graneman, Adam Gutman, Bill Munhausen, I'm Vicki Simbro. John Oliveri is usually always here. My guess is he's maybe a little in traffic, I don't know, but in any case, if we'll all stand and say a pledge to allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, I know that there's some of you that would like to talk with us. I'm going to read this is a time, the citizens' communication is always a time set aside on the agenda for citizens and visitors to address the Board of Trustees on any topic. Speakers are restricted to 3 minutes. Today I've excluded that, and you can have 5 minutes. Unless otherwise permitted, I'm permitting 5 minutes. Minutes may not be donated or transferred from one speaker to another. The board will not take any action on any item listed on the agenda, nor will it respond to any questions, although staff may be directed to respond at a later time. The board welcomes and absolutely values your input and feedback. It's just really important. So we can get that started. Is there anyone that wants to address the board?
Vicki, do we need to accept the agenda for today?
Did I miss it? I'm always missing these. We just need to move it around. Okay, so is there a motion to accept our agenda today?
I motion that we accept the agenda.
Okay, Denise and Adam both, all in favor? Aye. Okay, now we're good to go. Okay, so if you want to speak, sure.
Okay. First of all, I'm not a public speaker, so bear with me, but I do thank you for your time and allowing me to speak. The first thing I want to say is I'm not here to say certain books should be banned. I believe in freedom and our Constitution. Now, do I believe our tax dollars should be used to buy porn or children's sexual identity grooming books? I do not. I also do not believe these books should be accessible to children, yet they are. I have a box full of examples. Library policy says that any minor 17 years of age and under that has a library card has access to all library materials, physical and digital. If a child walks across the street after school, are they required to have a library card to come into the library to look and read books? No, kids come across the street all the time, pick up books. They're not, asked if they have a library card. So kids basically have full access. They just can't check them out. Now I want to talk a little bit about the American Library Association and one of their chapters, the Missouri Library Association, to whom our tax dollars pay $500 in annual dues. This is a Marxist organization. I brought documentation. In February 2023, the Missouri chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union filed a lawsuit on behalf of 2 Missouri library associations, one of which was the Missouri Library Association, challenging a state law that bans books with sexually explicit images from school libraries. The lawsuit filed in the Circuit Court of Jackson County is a response to what the plaintiffs see as an unconstitutional law that has led to the banning or targeting for removal of hundreds of books in schools across the state. The ACLU and the Missouri library groups argue that the law violates the rights of librarians and students. So, the Missouri Library Association is wanting to protect themselves. They're not concerned at all with protecting kids. Now I want to talk a little bit about the president of the American Library Association. Emily Jabrinsky, the controversial president of the American Library Association, previously expressed she wants to recenter children's libraries on notions of queerness and prevent what she describes as angry white mob parents from trying to block the efforts. The ALA elected the self-described Marxist lesbian to lead the organization in April 2022, sparking outrage from parents advocates who pointed to her history of anti-conservative rhetoric, push for LGBTQ literature in libraries, and positions on parental rights. Emily Drabinski's own statements speak for themselves, exposing her to be a dangerous, radical, hell-bent on sexualizing and indoctrinating America's kids, and using your local library to do it, said American Accountability Foundation President Tom Jones, whose group discovered and shared Drabinski's controversial statements with Fox News Digital. It should be self-evident fact that politics and pornography have no place in kids' libraries, Jones said. Yet that is exactly the vision that Drabinski seeks to implement. This is a tweet that Emily Drabinski put out. She did delete it, but she did put it out. I just cannot believe that a Marxist lesbian who believes that collective power is possible to build and can be wielded for a better world is the president-elect of the American Library Association. I am so excited for what we will do together. Solidarity. I don't know if any of you have heard of the 45 communist goals that were entered into the congressional record in 1963. I'm just going to read a couple of them. Goal number 25, break down cultural standards of morality by promoting pornography and obscenity in books, magazines, motion pictures, radio, and TV. 26, present homosexuality, degeneracy, and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. And that's basically what most of these books that I have here do. I'm not really going to say much more other than I will point out that in this book, which is accessible to minors, it is in the adult section. I mean, it has a picture of a woman naked behind a man who's on all fours. I mean, this is animated porn. And this is just one example. I'm not going to show you any more, but. And then we have a book called Rainbow Parenting, your guide to raising queer kids and their allies. It gives an example of what you should do if someone asks you what your baby's gender is. I can't believe you're having a baby. Congratulations. Thank you. We're really, really excited about it. So do you know yet? Well, we know that the baby is healthy and kicking. Oh, I mean, do you know if it's going to be a boy or a girl? We don't know yet. We're waiting until they're old enough to tell us themselves. What can I get you for your baby shower then, if I don't know if it's a boy or a girl? I mean, that's just a little bit. This book is like way out there. And I mean, kids should not have access to this kind of stuff. They shouldn't have access to stuff that's in the little children's room. I mean, it's indoctrinating kids into transgenderism. A parent with a small child, 5 or 6 years old, should be able to go into the children's room, pick up a book for their child, and not have to worry about it saying you could be a boy, a girl, you can be both a boy and a girl, or you can be neither. I mean, it's just gotten to where conservative parents won't even bring their kids in. They don't have access because they don't want their kids exposed to this stuff. I mean, I don't know, that's all I got.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
I would like to read one of the books.
Okay.
It's called It Feels Good to Be Yourself,
This is in the children's room.
and it's in the young children's room. It feels good to be yourself. This is Ruthie. She is a transgender girl. That means when she was born, everyone thought she was a boy until she grew a little older, old enough to tell everyone that she is actually a girl. Girl is Ruthie's gender identity. This is Ruthie's brother, Xavier. Xavier is a cisgender boy. That means that Xavier was born, everyone thought he was a boy, and as he grew older, it turned out everyone was right. He is a boy. Boy is Xavier's gender identity. There are so many different ways to be a boy or a girl, too many to fit in a book. But not everyone feels like either a boy or a girl. Non-binary is a helpful word that can describe a kid who doesn't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. This is Ruthie's friend, Alex. Alex is both a boy and a girl. When Alex was born, everyone thought Alex was a girl, but Alex is both boy and girl. This is Alex's gender identity. This is Alex's friend JJ. JJ is neither a boy nor a girl. Ever since JJ was very little, they never felt exactly like a boy or a girl. They just felt like themselves. This is JJ's gender identity. Alex and JJ are both non-binary. Just like there are many different ways to be a boy or a girl, there are many different ways to be non-binary. Too many to fit in a book. Some kids don't feel exactly like a boy or a girl. They feel like neither. Some kids feel that their gender identity isn't always the same. It's often changing. And even with all these possible ways to be, some kids don't feel any of the words they know fit them exactly right. They are a never-ending number of ways to be yourself in the world. Whether you feel like a boy, a girl, both, or neither, or if you describe yourself another way, that is your gender identity. Your gender identity might match what people thought you were when you were born, or it might not. See, when you were born, you couldn't tell people who you were or how you felt. They looked at you and made a guess. Maybe they got it right, maybe they got it wrong. What a baby's body looks like when they're born can be a clue to what the baby's gender will be, but not always. When people guess wrong, it's okay to let them know. Ruthie was 5 when she told her parents, "I know you think I'm a boy, but I feel like a girl." Whoops, Ruthie was a girl all along. They just didn't know it at first. When people guess right, it's okay to let them know. Xavier was 3.5 when he told his family, "I am a boy, I like being a boy." You might feel like a boy, you might feel like a girl. You might feel like both a boy and a girl, or like neither. You might feel like your gender changes from day to day or from year to year. You might feel that none of these words describe you perfectly. You might not be sure yet. Maybe you're still figuring it out. Your feelings about your gender are real. Listen to your heart. No matter what your gender identity is, you are okay exactly the way you are, and you are loved. It feels good to be yourself, doesn't it? My children are grown. They're adults, they have their own children. But I wouldn't have wanted to come in the library and pick up this book and read it to my kids when they were young. And I know I have a lot of friends that agree.
Herb,
Thank you.
thank you.
Would you like me to sign in?
Yep.
Did all of you get this handout about Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
I did.
Did you get it to read?
Well, I read it.
Uh,
I have a copy.
I read it.
I was raised in a pretty coarse, I was raised in a pretty coarse home. I was in construction where people talk in any manner they choose. And what I find in that book, The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that's in the library for children, is language that amongst all of us grown adults, I would be embarrassed and ashamed to read that stuff aloud in this group. Yet someone has permitted that book to be put in the children's section of the library. And I think that in itself is profane.
The book Flamer is actually the name of it. What it does is, kids that read Diary of a Wimpy Kid are kind of led to that book.
Okay, well, but in any event, if you read those words in there, I'm sure you would be embarrassed to read those aloud in front of this group of adults. And that in itself should be evidence that it's not worthy of being in the children's part of the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, absolutely.
What I have to say is, I'm a grandmother, a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother, and a great-great-grandmother. And like the book that Nancy read, kids do grow up and have different feelings. But reading that book would make them very confused. And I just think that children are, when they're young, they don't need to be confused any more than they might have those feelings. But a girl is born a girl, a boy is born a boy. And I have a great niece that her entire life, she grew up, she liked wearing boys' underwear, she liked wearing things that were comfortable. But she now, they just left it. Some parents would take it, oh, she doesn't want to be a girl, she wants to be a boy. No, she just wanted to be comfortable. And she is grown up now and she's getting married. So I'm just saying they don't need books to confuse them.
What's your name, please?
Thank you, Ruth.
You didn't sign in, you gotta go sign in. You talked, you gotta go sign in.
She did. No, she
I
did.
signed
She
it.
signed it. You're fine. It's Ruth.
Janet
okay.
wants her name.
Ruth?
Is there any?
My name is Cindy DeMello, and I'm a grandmother, a mother. Reading this, I mean, this is not even appropriate for adults. I mean, I would want to pick this book up and read it. And the thought that it's open to a 9-year-old, that I have 2 9-year-old grandkids that can go in and read this. Our job is to protect our children. This is our taxpayer dollars. The library is supposed to educate, and what I'm seeing here is nothing. I mean, this is just porn. I mean, this is so upsetting to me that a child could pick this up. I mean, in our libraries, I'm asking you guys to please, at least, I mean, even porn, before you had to go into a separate room as an adult for this just to be open source. I mean, I'm asking you guys to please reconsider this and take it off the shelves. If there's any way possible, if not, it just shouldn't be in with the children. I mean, it's just, our job is to protect them. And this should be over 18 to even read this. This is porn to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to give us, to speak? At this point, no? The only comment that I will make is that the board hears and recognizes your concerns. I can tell you that we will put this on the agenda. We've been busy with our previous agenda for the last few months. I realize this is a concern for the community because of the importance and the concern of this content. I think the board is hearing what you're saying. But I think we need to give us some time to look at the curation process, check our policies, to see that we're all within the community values and state laws. So my plan is to place this on the agenda so that the community knows it's on the agenda, and either have a meeting here in the library or have a mini town hall in regards to all of this, so that we can get, I understand you're citizens, but it does affect the whole Camden County community. And I think that everyone should have the ability to inform. We can inform about the meeting. The choice is up to whoever chooses to come and who speaks. And so that's all that I will probably discuss about this at this point in time, is that I can assure you that it will be on in January, after the holidays, to give the board some time to review, examine, think, whatever. and I will go from there. So that's all I can say, and then I'm probably gonna move on with our agenda today.
Can I ask?
Sure. Okay.
Would it be possible, when you have all this going on and looking over everything, that there would be a suggestion that these books would be out of the small children's rooms into, a locked room where they couldn't get to it? Just a suggestion.
Well, as president, I always refer back to the board to make this decision altogether. That's part of this, if we need to do it, but to make that decision just today,
No.
Nancy, I can't,
I don't mean, but it would be a possibility that
a
you would-
possibility that we could pull them off the shelves until something is decided.
That's what I was
and
trying to
stuff.
say.
I'm not gonna say we will or we won't at this
Right.
point in time, but
I
we'll
understand.
discuss
I
it.
understand.
Is there a form for challenging the books, Vicki, that we have in the
And
library?
they can be obtained at the front desk of any of our branches.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
To challenge the books?
To challenge the book,
Okay.
so if there's, fill out that form, that just goes to the more information we get from the community.
Okay.
And I believe they are online too,
Okay, thank you,
under our policy.
thank you.
Okay, is there anybody other have any more comments? Okay, then I'm gonna proceed with, our meeting today. Is there a motion to, accept the minutes from the last meeting?
I'll motion to accept the minutes for the next meeting.
Is there a second
I have got it.
of the minutes from the last meeting?
Yeah, we're going to discuss any of that.
If we need to,
Okay,
is there a motion to discuss?
give me a second, I need to get up to speed on that part. Yes, there is one thing I wanted to discuss off the old minutes.
Okay.
And just to see what's happening with that, there was a recommendation to pursue customer service training.
Yes.
It was, and when I read it in the minutes are accurate. I'm not,
I got the word.
but how do you make that more than a recommendation?
It's in the
Okay,
process.
and so I would hope there would be a certificate of completion of the
will take
employee's file.
All staff and new staff will be taking customer service training. Right now, they take ethics training, so they will also be doing that. We are just looking through various types of online training, and we have yet to choose one. But they are aware that this is coming, and we will be implementing that.
We found one that we can share with you that is free and think it's good, that Adam and I looked over, so.
Sure, you can send me a link. We have
We can send that
several
to.
through our online resources,
Yeah,
yes.
that sounds good. Any further, so everybody agrees to accept the minutes?
We need a second.
We need a second, for sure.
Second.
We had the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, move on to the treasurer's report. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns about the treasurer's report? Is there,
All right, no.
a motion to accept? A second? All in favor?
Aye.
I missed the second, sorry.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor of the treasurer's report, and then the disbursements, the bills payable, did everyone review that? And is there any questions? A motion to accept the bills payable?
Well, what I saw on the disbursements, these are not as specific as they
Yes.
have been. And we really need that.
I was kind of in a hurry and didn't go through the checks to get those done, but they will be on the next.
All right.
So is there
Okay.
any questions, discussion?
Oh, regarding passport,
I'm sorry.
the travel and conference fees that we're using for moving passports from the location
Yes, ma'am.
to the post office. To save us you know, any extraneous fees or whatever, why can we not use a library vehicle and, you know, have one person stop at, let's say, Osage Beach and then stop at Camdenton and just bring everything to the
You can't.
library?
Due to the federal regulations of our passport agencies, you cannot break the chain of evidence. The only people that can take the passports to the post office are the people that are qualified and certified to do the passports. As of yesterday, I went and checked and see how much we were spending in mileage, taking them back and forth. They will use the vehicles here, but at Osage Beach, which has the bigger passport business, there is not a vehicle there for them to use. But as of yesterday, we've spent $549 in reimbursement mileage, which is actually 3.5% of the passport fees collected.
So we're making then $35 we charge for the passports,
Yes, ma'am.
and then the gas is 33%, and then we pay $10 for the postage out of that $35 that we get.
After deducting the mileage, the reimbursement for the mileage and the passport postage, to date, we have netted $13,997 in passport fees.
Okay.
So were you saying the reimbursed expenses were 3.5%?
Yeah, that's what it was. 549 was 3.5%.
We
Yeah,
netted
3.5.
We netted this in fees, but what have we spent? You know, the $10.
That's what I have, the passport post, these are all the expenses, all the expenses that we have are the mileage that we reimburse the employees to take them to the post office and the postage itself that we pay. So
Okay, so that.
$2,193.48 is what we spent so far in passport postage.
All right, thank you.
The more passport applications we get into an envelope, the more money we are going to make.
Okay.
Can you repeat the postage amount, please?
We have, the postage amount is $2,193.48.
That's the postage and all the expenses.
That's the passport postage, yes.
And the mileage?
The mileage was $549, the travel expense that we reimburse.
Up to date, right?
And what was
Yes.
the corresponding revenue for that period?
And then the passport?
$16,740.
So it's 2,000 versus 16,000, that's where the percentage comes from. Okay.
Any more questions about the,
A motion to accept the disbursements.
is there a second?
A second to pay the bills.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so moving on to old business. Bill, you have the thoughts there on the open meetings and Mercury and Sunshine policy?
Yeah, it's my turn. The last meeting, I was kind of tasked with the idea of coming up with a sunshine law policy that integrated both open and closed meetings and email interactions. And I came to a point where I've written most of that up, but I realized it was just my opinion. And one of the difficulties we have as a board is we have this one monthly meeting where we can present something, and sometimes we prematurely accept an idea. Last time, I think we approved my email portion of the sunshine meeting, but then within a day, we didn't follow it. And we find it very awkward to follow it. It seems to me a lot of the sunshine law constrains us to such an extent, if you follow the letter of it, that no organization could get work done. It was created back in a day when the only way boards met or did work was to meet in person, face to face. And since that time, we've had email come along and video conferencing and teleconferencing and all kinds of electronic means to communicate. And the legislature has tried to accommodate those innovations, but not completely. So as a result of all of that, what we've been told is that everybody has to have their own policy. And the reason everybody has to have their own, everybody has to have their own policy is that even the legislators are unsure about what the policy ought to be, so they let everybody interpret it. So before I try to craft a document that is in my own intellectual way unrealistic, I thought we could have just a talk, a little discussion about what we're really trying to achieve. That the Sunshine Law isn't an absolute standard, even though occasionally people are fined for not following it. That's extremely rare. Generally speaking, if you're found to violate the Sunshine Policy, it's kind of a slap on the wrist. You get told you should take a remedial class. It's not a big deal. I will tell you that according to the letter of the law, we don't follow the policy. And we've had several closed meetings. I actually took an excerpt from the policy. It says, regarding closed sessions, any vote on a final decision when taken by a public governmental body to hire, fire, promote, or discipline an employee of a public government body shall be made available with a record of how each member voted to the public within 72 hours. So we've done several closed meetings where we didn't do that, and we had good reason not to do that, because we're going through a very complex hiring process. Some of our decisions have to be kept close to the vest until we come up with a decision, till we evaluate all the candidates, because we're trying to keep all of the candidates on a level playing field. We don't want to give anybody any advantages. So we have good reasons for not following the policy, and our policy should explain those good reasons. Yes, John.
I think the intent of that policy is once the decision has been made and everything finalized is when you have to make that information available. So it's not just a vote taken as part of the process, it's at the end of the process.
Well, that's how boards interpret it because everybody wants to do it that way. But it's not what the law says. The law literally says you have to reveal the results of a closed meeting within 72 hours. That's what it literally says. We don't do that, and everybody has good reason. I'm not disagreeing with you, John. I know why we do it this way. I agree with that we violated on purpose for a good reason.
Well, I'm not saying we violate.
Well, okay.
I can't agree with that.
As a board member, I shouldn't say we're violating the law. But as just a human being, I think
it's usually not a good admission.
I think we bend the law a little, or we have our own way of interpreting the law, and we need to codify our interpretation. I think the main thing that the Sunshine Law is intended to do is to make sure that we're transparent with the community we serve. So eventually we have to come back to a place where we let the community know, and that's what you're getting at with the decision on hiring a director. Eventually we'll come back with our decision. And it's a perfectly valid interpretation, but it is an interpretation. So I think we should decide as a group how detailed we want to be in terms of following the policy, or whether we ought to write a policy that explains, puts in writing, what our exceptions are. I personally think we ought to conduct more business over email. We experimented with that, just for the members of the audience, and we found that it was like running a board meeting 24/7. It got crazy, because we were all opining and writing, and why didn't you respond to this, etc. So we have to, just like we have Robert's Rules of Orders for our public meeting, our open meeting, we have to have something similar to a Robert's Rules of Order for our email interactions. But I think in order to not be limited by this 2 hours every month, we have to have a way to conduct business between meetings. And email is a pretty good thing if we can do it in a disciplined way.
And I believe that what you need to do when you're doing something like that is you cannot vote by email, okay? You cannot induce the vote or encourage others in how they should vote, okay, by email. And the purpose of having one center point for gathering all emails that are shared with the majority of the board is so that you can, meet the guidelines of sunshine and sunshine requests. So I think if we need to just be sure what's in the Sunshine Act itself, I think that you can probably find yourself in a position, Bill, of expanding your interpretation. You can't supplement, supplement it, okay? But you can't change, what the intent, as defined in, the sunshine law itself. You can't do that, okay?
Absolutely.
But you can set your own policies. I had an attorney that I worked very closely with, and I will tell you that, based on many directions that I tried to take, he always reined me back in to the point of, you don't want to be so tight on your guidelines or policies that you put yourself in a position where you can violate them, okay? So with that in mind, that's where I'm just throwing that out as a comment.
Sure, and I received that. It's interesting that the Sunshine Law currently requires each public body to have their own policy, but they don't want to know it. So, yeah, it's kind of like you could have an attorney look at it, but the attorney is going to be in the same position as the expert we had who came and taught us the Sunshine Policy, but refused to have an opinion on anything. So, an attorney will be more opinionated, but they will also have a disclaimer. They'll say, well, different arguments come up. Who knows? if they're really being honest with you. So, with all of that said, if you're all willing to bear with me, I would like to experiment with finalizing the proposed policy I wrote and distributing it to you by email so that you have a chance to review it. And going along with what John said, not vote on it, but be prepared at the next meeting to deal with it. And what I would propose is that in doing this by email, since it's my proposal that I be the point person and that I gather all of the input from all of you and put it in a document so that we have a permanent document of what everybody's comments were and what we decided, didn't vote on, but sort of decided, came to a consensus so that at the next meeting we can vote on it. And that will be kind of our experiment of both the policy and our way to interact with email.
So then are you suggesting that being the point person, that we not use reply all when we're discussing our thoughts and just send them directly to you? So you'll get mine, you'll get Denise's, you'll get Vicky's and Adam's and John's, and you'll have all of that, so there's no crossover thought process of not replying to all. So John's not gonna see what my thoughts are if you're talking about not insinuating, not implying, not encouraging, not thinking. We're missing out, to me, the process of critical thinking that we're all sharing. But is that what you're thinking?
I think what has to happen, I hear that, but I think what has to happen is if somebody gives me good feedback, which I define as good feedback, and I decide that my proposal has to change, then I should resubmit to all of you the revised proposal and why it's being revised. Otherwise, we'll end up at the next meeting with everybody submitted comments and we're still looking at the original proposal. I mean, just in human terms, if this is going to be a real interaction, I have to be able to hear from you and receive what you're saying and include it in the proposal.
I guess in that answer, I didn't hear an answer to Vicky's question.
Well, I think
Is the intent that we communicate one-on-one with you?
Yes, I think you should communicate one-on-one. Since it's my proposal, since it's my proposal, I should receive your critique, because I might have an answer for you that makes your critique go away.
Right.
And so you might like something that I wrote, and so then you'll readjust your proposal to everybody else. So then my suggestion is that guidelines be set on return replies within 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever if you're gonna take this on, decide, so that we all can try to follow with that, because everybody has busy schedules.
And we have to accommodate that. Sometimes, I think when I first send out a proposal, there should be like a 5-day period where people can review it. And we'd rather not have immediate feedback because, we've all experienced this with email. Sometimes we'll just immediately write back our first impression, but that can be in retrospect, something we shouldn't have done. So I'll set up some kind of guidelines for interaction and send that out to all of you, and then we'll experiment with this.
Sounds good.
Now,
Great.
I should probably be copied on all of them as.
Because you're that curator of records or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something I was gonna mention is that, our Vicky Groneman is included in our interactions, and all those are on record. And so, as far as most of it gets there, I think the best effort is there. And, so as far as the statement of some, wandering into the area of not abiding by the policies, that most of our interactions, everything I can think of that was important, has gone on record, and Vicki has that.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we're in dangerous territory, and I agree that Vicki should be included as, it should be you and Vicki that get the emails.
Well, actually, the way the law is written, if you and I interact, that's not part of the public records. So it doesn't have to include Vicki.
A majority of the board.
Yeah. Right.
It's true. Needs a majority of the board.
Okay, so I won't have to worry about
So
it.
you don't have to worry
Okay.
about it. If you're bypassed, it's for a reason.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Well, yeah, anything is,
And it has
just to
to be,
be sure for clarity, when you send out your initial email, it goes to a majority of the board.
goes to
that-
all of the board plus Vicki.
Yes,
Yes.
it goes to the whole board, but that's the majority of the board which falls in. So Vicki will get that, okay?
Yes.
And it's just when Denise or the other Vicki, responds back to you on a one-on-one,
Uh-huh.
Vicki doesn't,
We'll see that.
won't see that and won't capture that.
Right.
And is not required to.
But as the lead person, so to speak, if I see something that maybe ought to be, I might
Share it.
share it to everybody.
And I agree, I think far too many times in what we've done in the past, we have responded to each other's statements and gotten off into the weeds
Absolutely.
and deep into the trees.
We want to be out of the
Yeah, we
weeds.
want to be out of the weeds. And with you handling that, I feel like that's a great way to handle it, Bill. Thanks for that recommendation.
All right.
So we'll defer that to the January meeting.
Correct.
To follow up on, and in the meantime,
I'll be working on
you'll be experimenting with all of us, doing what we're gonna do.
Well, I'd like to say one thing, if by chance, Bill, you're not in a position with what you put together initially and proposed, and then you get a lot more comments, you do more research, if you're not available, if you don't have what you want as a final proposal for the January meeting,
All right.
it will be deferred until such time as that is available, presented by email to the board, so that the board can be prepared, when we come into whatever meeting that is.
Sounds like a
That's
good
very nice.
suggestion.
Okay.
You'll get to know each of us on an individual basis without all of us thinking together.
How wonderful.
Is there a motion to accept that we'll do this? Do we need a motion on this?
I'll
No.
motion to accept.
So we're all in favor to try this experiment?
We're unified.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think we just, if you want to make a motion that we lay over this particular item to a future meeting.
Sure. Continuation of the old business.
Right.
I think Denise
Second on
made that motion
I'll second
in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, moving on to Adam, a report update on the radio building.
Okay, I'm gonna take a shot to hooking up to this. You guys might wanna take a
Turn
different
around.
seat so you can see what's going on. Might be easier to go out into the audience.
UTX is
I don't think your video.
probably not yet, yes.
You mean the video? Oh, she was
Oh,
trying to light it.
The owls? That's the owl. The owl working.
Yeah, it's on.
Oh, it's not up there? And we don't do it that way.
Why would?
Why the feed isn't on the screen. We don't put the feed on the screen usually, do we?
No, that's not what I meant.
What's your question?
Oh, I thought that was talking about the owl, but talking about him.
Yeah, it's his presentation.
Yeah.
I should have done this, I've already done this, I'm sorry.
What's it trying to do?
Well, it should see, it shows running too. Did you identify, duplicate these displays, which is what I want to do.
Alright.
I was kind of confused on that because I was.
I can figure it out.
Right, so they're down,
Unless it's a full screen to get. Whether it's in person.
There are several reasons that you can close a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's real estate, employment.
There's a whole list of them, about 20,
Grab
about
that.
20 items. The biggest thing about Sunshine Law is to ensure that you.
Gotta get our technical expert.
Or you can get Mark, would you like me to do that?
Law.
I can.
It says
Go find it.
that if you're doing X, Y, Z for the purpose of going around the Sunshine Law, then you're doing it wrong. So if you're doing this, you talk about things that all there before anyone and get it to somebody asking for them, then you're not trying to skirt.
This is a common problem.
Yeah, I don't
And you're doing the Sunshine Law.
Yes, and normally it just hooks up, but sometimes.
Whether there are discussions between you and the Four Seasons Properties Association concerning the sheriff thing, yeah, that was a good answer. I'll just give it to you.
Yeah, it's something about signal, and I plugged in, so that.
Reception was
We don't consider that meeting prior.
better.
You don't consider it email meeting prior.
Not doing, no, I wouldn't consider it.
I'd say we
Done.
take.
Consider it, you're not having a meeting, you have that little discussion. Against the spirit.
And that's why you're not.
We're having trouble selecting the right output.
How to vote, and you are not supposed to vote. That is a fine issue.
Yes,
And that's why you keep that, in
exactly.
The other, mostly transmitting of ideas and thoughts
That's not a big deal.
in preparation for.
That's not a big deal.
I came to the rescue.
Yes. Thank goodness.
All right.
Nothing to it.
All it took was one little
What did
click.
you do?
We connected before we did the video things to them.
Okay.
So I went back to the other end with it.
Oh, okay.
And then went back.
Okay.
Thank Mark.
Thank you.
Just hang tight so we can get started, just in case. Save your legs for just a minute.
Janet Dabbs. I'm a freelance reporter. Today I'm the witness. And I reckon make some in Morton County.
Are we good?
Through this pretty quick.
That's an old picture. Wish it's gone. Been gone, but.
All right, this is the radio building at 1081 Osage Beach Road, over in Osage Beach, it's right next to the, there's a floor plan of the building. The arrows indicate doors. In this section here, where you have community office and office, these walls have been punched out and that door does not exist. So you'll see that in the pictures you're looking, I have pictures looking into that, just trying to get you oriented as to where we're at. That's the location on Osage Beach Road and right next to the Osage Beach Library there. It's about 14 miles from the Camdenton Library. And then just real quick, the board members have probably seen this before. I just went and took pictures of the tower. The tower looks to be in really good condition. It's a 250-foot tower. I got that information from the assessor's office, the Camden County Assessor's Office. Osage Beach had nothing on that. Here she is. Entrance. So this is again going, if you're looking at that floor plan, the entrance, you've got the conference room. That's, if you come in the front door, to the left there is the window to the conference room. There's the lobby. And then you go to your, hang on, let me go back there. And you'll see just to your right there is the first soundproof room. And then that's looking into it. You go down the hallway, second soundproof room. There's 2 bathrooms. They could be the ladies and gentlemen. And then I was talking to you about those 2 walls. There used to be, I guess, a door. Looks like by the drawing there was a door here. And at some point the building got modified, so that's just an open room as such. And that's looking across from, you're all the way down the hall, you're looking across to it from the break room area. And for the life of me, I can't exactly remember where that is. I don't know if that's in those 2 rooms or if that's more.
It's across the hall.
Closer to the, it's over by the
Closer to
mechanic,
the end.
by the facilities and all that.
No, it's where you were just talking about the door and it being cut through and you had that one big open.
Yeah.
That is directly across from that, or as you come in that back door, it's on the right-hand side,
Okay.
where that large room is on the left-hand side.
All right, yeah, I didn't see that last time. It looks like an additional bathroom, maybe like a staff, like you could have.
I'm sorry. I thought that was back in the air conditioning room and
That's
whatever, because
the
we got
water
another
heater
unit
and it
back
has a
there.
toilet in it, maybe some
Yes,
shelves.
yes, that's off of the room next to that double room.
Okay.
It's a private office room with its own bathroom.
Okay,
And that bathroom is located behind 2 other bathrooms.
okay.
Right.
So, yes, so that actually could serve as a, I mean, it has all I'm doing, this is basically, like I said, it's an information dump. Possibilities for a staff bathroom where you've got 2 other public bathrooms. Then when we're looking at that double room, this is looking across from the break area. You can see where the antenna signal was brought in through there. That's the entrance there. And then it goes to that server room on the other side of the wall. This is the water source, the well and the filtering and stuff for the water. So it is on well. Power panels right there in that, it's kind of a whole mechanical room area. Okay, so now, basically the reason why I'm going through all of this right now, we have it's got 2 AC units that keep it cool. And they initially were for cooling equipment that made a lot of heat. One of the AC units has failed. And the newer unit is, and I couldn't find any dates on the older unit. I would have to call in that serial number, but I couldn't find any dates on the older unit and the older air handler up in the attic. And there'll be a reason why I'm telling you all this. The newer unit is a 2016 unit, so it doesn't have a lot of time left on it. So that would help everybody make a decision as to what you want to do in regards to what I'm going to suggest. So this is the newer air handler in the facilities room there. Let's see, that's just looking back. That's I want to go the wrong way. An extra picture, we don't need that. This is, so Dave, what's Dave's last name?
Pierce.
Dave Pierce is the head of maintenance, and he was very generous in providing these drawings, and this was his markup for paint and carpet, paint and flooring rather. So, yeah, that is the how the heating and cooling works. The zones, you've got 2 zones. So outside, outside here, you've got 2 units on that end side of it. You've got 2 compressors, and you've got the failed one. And you've got 1 zone that has the air handler up in the attic, and that is the failed one. Then you have the other one right here. I'm sorry, back in here. Has it right here. So up in the attic. So you see the 2 zones here, and then you can kind of see the ducting, how it's separated out. That's the old air handler up in the attic. And Dave Pierce had a really good idea, and I agreed with it. And then that's why I went up and took a look. You could actually just run the functioning unit, and with about 6 foot of ducting between those ducts, you can attach the 2 ducts and keep the old air handler running just to move air. And until we decide what exactly we're doing with the building, I'm proposing this as a measure to just preserve the building, be able to heat and cool it somewhat. Might not make the best zones for people sitting in offices if they were to populate it. It might not provide the best heating and cooling and comfort, but it would maintain the building. And then in addition to that, I would seriously recommend about maybe 3 portable dehumidifiers placed about, just to preserve what we have, keep it dry, and keep the temperature reasonable in there. And so I would encourage, unless we're going to do something really fast, like sell the building immediately. Yes, go ahead.
Is any of the audio equipment, I'm sure the mics and all that are gone, but how about the cabling to the tower? In other words, if let's say the idea were to be to create a public broadcast station that might even be part of citizen bank, not CB,
like public radio type.
Yeah, more
or more of a local one.
What's the other amateur radio?
Oh, okay.
That sort of stuff.
Ham.
Yeah, ham radio, yeah. So, kind of like maybe even I don't know, a civil defense center or something of this nature for broadcasting the information during emergencies or something. Is any of that cabling to that antenna still there?
All that cabling is still there. How it would tie in and how usable it is, how the backhaul would tie up to the newer equipment, I don't know.
Have you seen if the cabling still goes up the tower?
It looks like it's all intact. Yes.
It was used by the amateur club up until about a year ago. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's something. If you want to maybe send an email, we have that suggestion, from you. But we're just kicking. So again, this is an information dump so that we get the building sustainable. And then we're going to work real hard at figuring out, Mark wrote up, and that will be presented later in a later board meeting. Mark wrote up a very nice report of kind of pros and cons of maybe that being a makerspace like we have here. I don't know, are you familiar, Ike, with the makerspace that we have here? It's got 3D printers and some music stuff and music equipment and a lot of it's the technical aspect of the library, as far as the things the public can use. So we've got to come up with what we're going to do with it. I'm going to go to extremes here, but do we keep it? Do we sell it? Do we scrape it and use it for parking? Do we make it into a makerspace? Those are all considerations that we have to work with. as the board and figure out where we're gonna go with it. So Vicki, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to ask that 6 foot of ducting, so you're thinking about hooking the two zones together with that 6 foot of ducting?
Run it
And
off
then
the
air
open.
handling is just gonna move the air around to cool, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
good.
gonna cool and heat, keep it at a reasonable
Okay.
temperature.
I just wanna make sure I understood that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And assist in keeping the moisture out of there. And the functioning unit that's on the floor in the facilities room has a humidifier on it, and I can see why they would have done that, because you want to keep static electricity down when you've got mainframes, when you've got radio equipment and whatnot. We need to dehumidify it. We need to make sure that humidifier is not making it damp in there. So those are things that need to be addressed. So my recommendation on that is to have somebody give an estimate, maybe a couple estimates on what it would cost to tie that together, from an air conditioning, in other words, specifically say to them what we want, not just come in and have their best recommendation for the whole system. We want to do this, what would it cost to do that? And get a couple estimates on it, and I think, in my best opinion, is to get that done. And then get dehumidifiers in there. That's the biggest concern, is dampness starts building up in there.
So we could have the two companies that we agreed with last time, Affordable and Comfort, I think were the two, to come and just tell them what we want to do and what that would cost.
Yes, that would be that's my best understanding, my recommendation. You might want to confer with Dave Pierce on that as well, please.
Well, and would you and Dave maybe go out and meet them to maybe explain it, since
Absolutely.
you guys know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be
So
more than
that
happy
could be a
to. I don't know.
coordination.
Yeah,
John, go ahead.
The only other thing I might suggest is get their opinion. They're the professionals on this, and I would hope that their opinion wouldn't be adding a new unit at this time, because I agree with you
Right.
that doesn't appear to be anything that we need with the one functioning unit, okay? Being able to handle the size of the building, okay?
Yeah.
And so, but if they see anything else that they would recommend
Yes.
that was in line with what we're trying to accomplish,
Yes.
then please, share that, or give that, as part of their,
Yeah.
estimate.
As far as what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely, I mean, we're not asking them to really
Maintain,
come up with
yeah.
anything more. This is what we want to accomplish. This is what we think will work. Do you agree? If not, at least give us an estimate on what we say, and if you think it's gonna need something else, then you put that in a supplemental,
Yeah.
estimate, so
Sure.
that we've got that to look at.
Get a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense. Thank you. This was the a form I got at the document I got at the assessor's office in Camden County for the Camden County assessor. And so there's some interesting items. If any of you guys want that in an email or want a copy printed off. But main thing that I was after was, I wanted to know the height of the tower. And it would have been nice if they had any other drawings or whatever, but this gives a lot of good information. Let's see.
How long ago was KRMS transmitting from there?
Year built was 69.
I'm not sure it was KRMS, I think
Not when KR.
it was the wave, it was the wave.
107?
Kevin Hilly,
Right before we bought it.
Actually,
Actually,
Kevin
they-
Hilly,
yeah.
yeah.
They were right up to, almost to the time of us purchasing it, so.
Must have pretty good coverage then.
I guess.
So that showed the wiring on that tower then that went up.
Oh, yeah.
That's all still there, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
250-foot tower, that's
250 feet, so it does go up, yeah, and I saw it's all intact.
Yeah.
Yeah, 250 feet, that's a nice
substantial
tower.
tower.
So there are some other concepts for that as well, as far as, but I want to, the board needs to
Well,
discuss all the concepts that are
Yeah.
there. There is, I would like to look into possibly also, maybe there are carriers that want to rent the tower, rent space on the tower. And they'd have to build a small little outbuilding in the parking lot there. So now that I know the height of the tower, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with it, and if renting the tower, if it's a possibility, if will work with what we wanna do with the property. So, and that will take quite a bit of research, and contacting a lot of people, and when you contact the people, you gotta keep it fresh. So you can't contact them and then let it lay for a while, because it'll just go down the road. So I don't wanna dive into that till we decide whether we're keeping the building, whether we're scraping it, whether we're selling the property. We've gotta figure all that out.
I have a question. What did Mark say about the makerspace area?
He wrote up a report, and I just got it, and I have to read through it. And I would like to do that. I would like to discuss that. Once I've read through it, I would like to discuss that at another board meeting, at the next board meeting.
Yes, we've asked you to do those evaluations, and I think that's fair. Yeah, and then you can bring that back to us. Until such time, I would recommend, and I don't think it requires, a vote, but just an agreement from the board that, you move forward with, getting with the AC folks and getting those estimates.
All right, yeah, I'll get with,
Vicki, you can do
Vicki.
that. If you want to use Vicki to transmit that out, and it doesn't have to necessarily just be to the two people that we had centered in on, you can put it back out, to the AC community and let them come back to us as probably the way it should be handled.
Okay, so.
I think that's just more time consuming too.
It is, but we still have to do it. I mean, it's.
Respect for the guys that we've already done.
Gotta get three estimates, I would expect.
Well, that's one more. So we had 4, didn't we have 4 to begin with, Vicki?
No, I think we had a few more than 4. I think it was maybe closer to.
Well, that was for getting AC off. Were any of those estimates include tying the systems together, or?
No, because that's not really what we requested from.
That's what
And you're probably not gonna have a lot of them interested in just doing ductwork, okay?
Yeah,
That's not where they make their money.
I understand that.
Right, so we're probably not, may not have that many people responding back to us.
I would be happy to, make some calls on that. I've dealt with some AC folks around here. Walls is a pretty good bunch of guys. There's some others.
You might wanna get with Vicki on the proper way to, put out a bid
Yeah.
request.
Oh, no, I understand that. I understand that. So I want to work with Vicki and Dave Pierce, coordinate with the, together, so we can get that done. I think somebody will pick it up. It's a short day's work, and give them a piece of change.
Great work, yeah.
So, is there any other questions? I can answer them. If anybody wants this PowerPoint or has any other questions, just email me. I'll send you whatever you need. So that's it. Thank you for your time on that.
Okay.
Now we have to go back to our old seats.
Continue on with new business. Just to be aware of the Missouri Evergreen Memorandum of Understanding revision. My understanding is we have a contract that comes up in February, so it's important for everybody to look at this contract and understand it, and especially me, because I signed the contract, so to have questions on it. And I was, Vicki sent out the bylaws, I believe you did that yesterday. So I would just appreciate everybody else taking a look at it to understand the whole process of this consortium that we're with.
The consortium is just asking us 2 things. Is that not right, Vicki? The 2 things you highlighted?
Right, that's the only change. The general membership meeting voted to adopt the attached resource sharing MOU that I sent. This version is up to date for all the libraries. As libraries were joining, each of them would have a different MOU. So they would like to encourage everyone to renew this revised one. There's no intention at all to void the original agreements. They just want to put everyone, all the libraries, under the same document.
What's an MOU?
Oh, what is?
Memorandum of
Yeah,
understanding.
memorandum of understanding, yes.
Do we have a,
Pardon me?
I said that's government parlance.
do we have a copy of their policies?
I do not have a copy of them with me right now.
Because when I was reading through this, it said that we had to abide by the policies.
Right, their policies would be, two of their policies is, for sure, is that we have to use the courier service through Mid-America Alliance. That is through the Secretary of State's office. They subsidize that based upon how many deliveries we get. And then we cannot just be a reciprocal library. They do not want libraries in this consortium to stop buying books and then use everybody else's books. It's in the consortium. You have to continue to buy books and share resources throughout the libraries in the consortium.
Is there amount of money we have to spend that's designated?
The funding is based upon your revenue, your circulation, and your holdings.
So is there an amount then, what you had written in here was?
Yes, those were for the 2023, 2024 fees.
The $6,251.
That was for the hosting fees, yes, and the other one is the Markite fees, $588 per year.
And that was for the MLA?
No, that's for our Markite fees. That is to keep our catalog so that people who are, so that people can read it. Whenever you put a MARC record in, it's kind of hard to explain. I'll try this. When you put a MARC record in, you put that into your catalog. But when a patron goes and accesses your catalog, you have to use a digital format so that they can see what the record says. Does that make sense?
I was just trying to think, because I thought it.
A bibliographic record would be a catalog card, out of an old catalog card system, like that. That information is on there. That's your bibliographic record. Whenever you put that into a catalog so that your patrons can see it, when you pull up the catalog, you pull up a title. It's going to give you your classifications, your subheadings, your author, your title, the date of publication. This Markite, which is a digital program, turns it around so that you can, the patron can read it.
Makes it so that every
Yes.
library is standard.
Right. Yes.
That's the same information.
Right. It's a machine-readable record. It turns your catalog, your bibliographic record into a machine-readable record. And that's what they do, along with hosting our integrated library system, which is what keeps us in business.
Well, it just seems like it has its own standards and it tells us what to kind of do with different databases and
No, not really.
responsibilities.
I have a bigger concern in that. I appreciate all the operations that you explained to us about that. I have, first I have a question. So before Evergreen, how did we share books?
We were in another consortium.
Okay.
However, in this consortium, the other consortium that we were in, there was no resource sharing. So that is one of the reasons we decided to go with Evergreen.
Okay.
Because Evergreen is a resource sharing software. Or actually, it's not a resource sharing software, the consortium is a resource.
So if there's a book that's not in-house, it would become, if I order it, it's coming from Evergreen?
It will be coming through one of the other 63 libraries within that consortium.
Okay, so,
Depending upon what is available and how the algorithm tells you, okay, we're gonna take this book, is gonna come to you.
so if it was a book from Library of Congress or something like that, how does that?
You couldn't get it from the Library of Congress, it's only county.
There's books, yeah, okay.
We would have to use another resource for
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay, so you have there are other resources.
Other intra-library loan resources that we can go to that is provided by the Secretary of State.
Okay, and the reason that we went with this particular consortium is not only, was it the sharing, which gave us access to a lot more books, okay? It was a much larger consortium, so
Yes.
that even further expanded the availability of material, for our library.
I appreciate all that they provide. My bigger concern is how much sway do they hold over our library?
None.
Because they seem to, in their policies, they seem to reach in and tell us how they'll run our library.
No, they
I
don't,
mean,
they might read that way,
Yeah.
but it says notwithstanding the practices and policies that they outlined in 4.2, the library retains autonomy over its local operation. They do not tell us they do not dictate policy to us. They do dictate procedures as how we have to use their system, what
Okay.
requirements that is required to their system, not only how the records are entered, cataloged, how reports are ran. It's just like learning any other type of software. You're going to have to follow how the software works.
It actually goes a little bit.
It goes
deeper. A little bit, because
Yes.
it requires that we have a weeding process, for example. that
Well,
we-
no, it does. Let me explain.
In order to join the consortium,
And the reason for that is,
because they have to create a database. and it
right,
has
they
to be
don't
a
want to carry,
reasonable amount.
yes, they don't want to bring any old records off of our catalog into their new database.
Right,
That's just more extra work for them, so they recommend that all libraries, prior to becoming a member, do we.
We did that.
yeah, and so,
And what was the old consortium's name?
The old consortium was Cool Cat. It was a smaller consortium, excuse me,
So that sounds awful for me.
it wasn't, except that it did not have any resource sharing. Springfield Greene County Library was the largest library in the consortium.
So it's just, to me, it's just really telling us, when you say like 455, provide on-site services is required for the operation of the consortium within the library's building and pay a proportional cost of fees of any organization hired to administer the system selected by the consortium to carry out resource sharing. It does really seem like they are kind of telling us what we have to do in order to be a part of all of this
Well,
and
you
so
have to
forth.
follow, everybody has to agree that they are going to function together as a unit, okay? You can't have a provider and then you go off and, as it relates to the services being provided, okay? You can't just go off and do your own thing, okay?
I agree.
But you can if it's not related to the function of the consortium, okay?
But since the consortium isn't wanting any of the old books, and they want us to keep up with all the new books,
They do not dictate what we order, ever. This library board dictates what books, dictates our selection policy. You guys determine our selection policy. So they do not dictate what books we order.
Do they have
but if we
any,
keep up with their new plan, there's no availability to go back to the old books. Is that what I'm understanding too?
No, I don't understand that
Well,
question.
you said
No.
it's the old consortium, they want us to do the new stuff all the time, and they keep adding the new. What happens to all the old that if we wanted to go back and get, and then do we have to do their new?
Okay,
No.
you lost me. I don't understand what you're asking. Whenever we got rid of, we did the weeding on our collection. Those books are weeded and removed from the collection.
They're gone.
They're gone. So there's no getting them back at all. But
And they're deciding what books to weed and whatnot, or we're
No,
deciding
we
what
do
books to
that.
read?
We do that. That is our,
And we continue to weed as part of our own.
I know, every 5 years, and buy no more books, and if we don't use those books, they're up for sale. So that's just, you know.
if they're not
it's a
circulating, they're
concern.
taking up valuable space in our buildings.
Right, so then they're put for sale. So it is really important on what we spend our money on when we're buying books.
And that is determined by us, not by any
Yeah.
consortium.
I think that it's still we don't have to sign this until February, is that correct?
yes,
So there's
I
more
would hope-
time to look and read more into it,
I
and
would
learn a
hope
little bit
to
more into it,
be
see
able to read
policies.
it, to read it and look at policies
Yeah.
and look at, and it also talks about us attending or.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you're fine, you're fine.
The training.
You're fine. It also talked about a 50% participation in their board meetings?
Right, yes,
So is that staff or?
Yes.
Or
Right.
the director?
the director.
I would strongly recommend that we attend some of their board meetings to just understand the organization better. I hope we would take time to read down through our own policies, through the state policies, regulations, laws, and before we sign those. Would be my encouragement.
Yeah. Just keep in mind that
And we do need
I
to
don't think
read
they were
their
gonna
policies.
negotiate with us.
No, I understand that, I understand that.
And I guarantee, and it doesn't, I mean, we can, if you don't, every consortium is gonna have a set of rules and guidelines, okay? It's just the way it is, all right? Whoever you're dealing with as a provider, everybody's gonna have to be on the same page. That's what they're trying to do. They have taken and submitted to us, so that everybody's on the same page. We only had 2 items, okay, that we weren't in.
Already in.
I wouldn't say in conformance with, but that kind of
That's
is
just
what it's
request,
about, okay? So everything else, and as a matter of fact,
So those are,
our director was on their board for a number of years and helped establish a lot of these policies, okay? Just so you know.
so these 2 that are yellowed out were from us, they're not from the
That's their
consortium?
revisions.
That's the revision.
That's the
Yeah,
revision.
they're just saying that you need to include this, or when you sign this, this is
That's
not what was
that's the
there
only
before.
revision, that revision, and to adopt a line of succession plan policy, which we already had in place. So that's the 2 changes, or the 2 revisions to our current MOU that we have on file for them.
I have one quick question. Can parents come in and see what their kids have been checking out? Or does that privacy policy extend to children? Is that something they stipulate in here, is they stipulate, maintain privacy of patron circulation records in accordance
That's-
with Missouri revised statutes. So,
Right.
see, that's what I mean, we need time to read deeper down into.
Okay, sure.
So,
What they're saying there is that their servers, which house the patron records, they are responsible for the security of that, so that they do not have a data breach.
okay,
A minor child, an adult, has to sign their card. So yes,
okay, yes, what?
yes, they can come in and see.
Okay,
If they have signed their child,
okay, the parents have to sign a card, they can,
Right,
they can,
right.
okay.
that gives them
Good.
access to everything
Good.
visible in our life.
And you know what our policy is on children 17, or patrons 17 years and younger?
I can't cite it, I'm sorry.
Okay, Vicki,
What?
what the policy is for being able to check out a book?
You have to have,
Checking your-
minors 17 and under have to have a guardian, a parent
parent or
or
guardian.
guardian signature on their card,
Okay.
which allows them access to everything that's in the library.
And if they don't, the parents have to check it out.
Right. They have to be, it doesn't keep them from coming into the library, obviously, it is a public library, but they cannot check out books
Or anything.
or anything. Yeah, no, I shouldn't say books. They cannot check out any materials without a library card.
It's like anything new. I don't understand it well enough to know what questions to ask, so,
Certainly.
They kind of go through it.
Yes.
yeah, and that's the point of talking about it. I would
I
agree
hope
with
I've
that.
answered your questions.
Yes,
Oh,
thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
So you're still gonna,
Yes, I
can you find the
I will,
board dates that they're meeting, the next board dates? Because I think they just had a board meeting, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Just recently. So the next one, you could find out what the date that is and give it to us, and then their policies,
yes, ma'am.
so that we can look at their policies and compare it to the bylaws as well. So we have the 3 documents to look at.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, what happens is the parent signs the card and says that their children can have access to the library, which gives them carte blanche access to any book in the library. And then.
Any material,
Any material.
yeah.
Book.
CD,
So
DVD.
if a parent wants to know, like some parents, they don't know what's in there. Like the books that he was talking about, some parents don't know they're there. So if a parent wants to know what their child has checked out in the past, can they see that? Do they have access to that?
They can request that
And they can have it?
for minor children.
Okay.
Now, I'm quoting this, and I believe that is how, we've never really had that happen. We've never had a parent come in and request what their child is checking out.
Okay, because you were talking about some type of a privacy policy with that company. So.
Privacy policy. No, they keep their servers, our patron records are on their servers. They monitor those servers to make sure that there are no breaches to get that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But she also said that with the parent signing the card, giving authorization, that allows that parent to gather that information.
Yes, that's what I was, my
That was your question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we table this Missouri Evergreen memorandum to the next meeting.
Certainly.
So we can all examine the policies and everything and, make sure that we're in.
I suggested we just table, that's a motion, I'm sorry, I apologize. I'll second that motion. Now, as far as discussion, I'm not sure that the next meeting is necessarily the time span that we need. The only thing that I would say is that we should at least be able to respond and meet the February date for the two specific items that are required, okay? We've already agreed and we already have an agreement on all of the existing other policies. If at some point this board decides that they want to do something else, that's fine. But, we should at least meet the due date of the February date, since it only involves two issues that we currently are not already committed to.
Well, we're renewing the contract in February, are we
Their
not?
contract renews automatically.
Well, unless we decide we don't want to do it, then we're
I'm
due
going
till
to
February.
strongly suggest that you do not, or if you do not renew the contract with Missouri Evergreen, that you find another consortium to go in. It's cost prohibitive to do that on your own.
Well,
I
not
just
only
want to
that, but-
understand it better, because I'm
Not
not,
only that, when we made the shift from the one consortium to the second consortium, all of the training and man hours and whatever that it takes to go from one operating system into another operating system is massive, and it took months,
right,
to make
a
that
preparation,
transition.
and then
Actually having to close the library down for a
yes,
period of time so that we could, make the final computer changes and stuff like that.
it's a
Just
massive
mentioning
undertaking.
this, there's a lot involved in all of that. But I think this board, if they have any questions about this consortium or any of the rules or ground rules, sit down, take a look at it, ask your questions, we'll get the questions up to the consortium if we can't answer them.
Yes, I will absolutely speak with the executive director there and see what I can find out all the answers that you need.
I think realistically, we're gonna have to sign the agreement. We're gonna have to continue, and then that's something we can examine after the fact.
but I have all of January to read and research and ask
Yeah, I
questions
know,
and all kinds of
I
stuff.
know, but getting out of that consortium, kind of the way what John and Vicki are saying would be,
But we don't have to do that until
disastrous.
February, is what I'm understanding. Even with the two things, we don't have to do till February.
but we're never gonna not sign it.
I understand, I appreciate that. I want to understand what I'm signing, and that means I've got to drill down through some of the things that they're citing here, and I do that.
But you're never gonna not sign it, regardless of what you find. But if you find something terrible and you decide we want to get out of the consortium, then we can plan for it between renewal contracts.
But in the meanwhile, we still need to examine all the documents.
Okay,
Take January to examine them all.
Please.
Well, did the board participate in all the training and come in every day for the old board when they did all the training and stuff, so everybody was up to par? Or was that just for the staff of the
Staff
library?
training, why would I? I don't use that training. That was training for how the employee would use the library system, okay?
Right.
Why would I come in and get that training?
I guess just because being a board of trustee, I'd want to understand the whole consortium, and it just gives you a better understanding of how the library works.
You asked about the training, you didn't ask about the consortium, okay?
What,
So you said, did we come in for all the
did we?
training?
Okay,
No,
then
you
I'm
didn't,
totally
because it wasn't
misunderstanding
necessary.
then that the consortium, if you change and do all, and when you change the consortium, did you not say that there was training that went with that and that
Absolutely.
you had to close the library and you did all that kind of stuff? So my question was, did the board participate with all that training to get information about all of it, or was it just the library staff that works here?
The staff was trained. The library board was
Okay,
not, staff was
thank
not
you.
trained to use our integrated
Okay,
library
that's
system.
what I wanted to know. And as a board member,
But that doesn't mean that we didn't understand what the policies were, and had our questions answered at the time. You asked about the training. My response to you, Vicki, was regarding the training. Why would I need the training? I don't check out books, okay?
To patrons.
I'm just taking a different approach, John. So it's a different,
Philosophy.
it is a different philosophy, this is true. Okay, so we're all in favor that we're gonna make this amendment, we'll put it in the January, and we will take time to look at it and ask questions. And maybe that's an email thing that I'll be point on from all of you to share my understanding of what questions I have and inform, because I'm sorry, I'm not as up to this as John is, for instance, or Vicki, so to get a good understanding of all of it.
And it was not my main focus as assistant director, so I understand that you have questions and we will get them answered best to.
Well, we're paying $6,000, right, a year, so I want to understand where the money goes.
And that's minimal, considering
what
what
we
the
get.
cost would be to do
It's okay,
standalone.
let's just move on.
Let's just move on. Do you want to just tell us about the state statistical report, Vicki?
Yes, actually, the states, I have a summary.
We didn't vote to.
Well, we're all in favor, we're gonna just table the consortium until next
Yes, I
time.
get some information
Already
to
in
you.
agreement.
Yeah.
The public libraries in Missouri are required by statute to complete a statistical report each year to continue to receive state aid funding. So all libraries across the state enter this information, and then the Secretary of State combines all that information into this lovely form. It tells you how many registered borrowers the state has, how many the service area population. It just has all kinds of valuable information. As you can see, what I thought was interesting, the trends in the center shows what happened to program attendance to all libraries across the state and how they did a nosedive during COVID, and it is going back up after COVID. All libraries across the state are dealing with the same issue of trying to get their programming up to par, get people back into their libraries. But looking at this summary, the numbers are great. I just can't believe that there's 3,269,918 registered borrowers. And how many annual visits. It's just instant, and it tells you your programs based upon age group. The programs, not only that, the number of programs that are offered, as well as the attendees in the program.
I noticed that last month our attendance within the library, the door count was down, except for Stoutland. Stoutland actually went up.
That varies between month to month as to what is going on in your library.
It looks like a downward trend to me right now.
Well,
So we have to figure out how to get the people back in.
a lot of this
For Camden County, correct?
is for the state.
Oh, so it's, okay,
That's what it's for the state. Also, in this area, you know, a lot of people take off in October. They're gone, they are going to warmer climates. So that also has an effect on our door counters and the people that are coming into the library.
Okay. Thank you for updating us on that, Vicki. I didn't understand it, so it's good to know that what we're doing, what we're spending our time doing.
It's a long process of getting the information in.
So I don't really have a whole lot of president's comments other than to take the time to kind of overlook some of this information. On the FYI, was there any questions about the FYI with the updating of the, all the stuff, the garden thing that we did get our car, all those kinds of stuff was done. I did want to just mention on the branch reports, I really appreciated Marie drawing attention to the 30-year patron that she had that they lost and that she was reading books up until her last breath, it sounded like, which I thought was pretty awesome. She's pretty awesome in Stoutland. I also appreciate Jenny's breakdown of her time at Max Creek to tell us how busy they are and what they're doing, and it does, the numbers on the branch reports do go along with the, you know, snowbirds are headed out and grandmas and grandpas and the kids aren't here, so all of that is down. So I did want to make a mention to that. And then at Osage Beach Library, I did attend the Maker's Market Christmas Bazaar on the 18th. It was good. It was a very big variety of different vendors that were there. And I think that was awesome. The only thing I did hear in talking with the vendors is they wish we had advertised it just a little bit more. So we might think about how we can do that better if we want to have vendors in our
Like we have a sign
libraries.
that we put up on the main library sign.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's an issue, you know, to do with wet stuff. I did have a question, Vicki, you could probably ask on the outreach. If we're cataloging all our books, what are the non-cataloged books delivered?
Those are books that, paperbacks or something that's on a spinner rack, they're on a session. They do not have a barcode on them, so.
Are they not our books? They're just not?
Yes, they are our books. A lot of them people bring in, a lot of paperbacks. We don't order a lot of paperbacks, but we do order some.
So
They're just on a session that people come and and they don't have a barcode, but we do count the circulation. We have a barcode that we check out and check back in that says 5 paperbacks, 10 paperbacks. So that keeps us a record of how many times they are.
I wasn't sure because I thought we all had catalog books. That's why I was curious. And then on the fidget quilts, are we making new quilts all the time to
Yes,
take out?
yes.
And I need to know that date that they do those things so I can come look at these fidget quilts.
I think on Gail's report for the adults, she tells you what the fidget quilts.
13 of them were delivered, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to come and watch them be made.
Yep.
And stuff. And then on the, I wanted to ask on the technology report, maybe you know, when we purchased, because we got the grant for the new laptops that were provided, that Mark got, and Camden and Osage Beach received new laptops for their makerspace, the extra 4 laptops for staff to use as needed. How old are the laptops at the other branches, and are we rotating so that each branch gets a new thing, or is this, or we just?
Yes, Mark has a technology plan to keep things up, and when we buy this and to make sure that we do have the newest things throughout the district.
So our old laptops then are still newer than the ones that are at the branches, and so we would.
No, he has a plan, right, he has a technology plan that outlines when new desktops are purchased, when new laptops, and where they go throughout the system, throughout the district. Which I just want to say that we got our new 3D printer, and Mark has taken it to Osage Beach today.
Okay. And the other print stations are still coming, but they're not here yet.
Right, we hope that they will be in Jefferson City today, and we will get them midweek down here. We're going to have to close the library for printing. We will not be able to print anything until Mark gets them set up. It may take a day.
Okay, all right. And I like his holiday approach of making craft unique gifts, what people are using that for. Does he take any pictures of those kinds of items that we could use for, in our marketing, on the website?
Yes, we have 'em.
It does, okay. I just
Actually, you
have
should
to-
stop at the front desk on your way out, if it's still there, and take a look at his latest creation.
Okay,
For our patron, I
Okay.
showed it to Bill, it was awesome, it was pictures of their wedding,
okay,
and it does a great job.
okay. And I guess thank you goes to him for our badges, right? The
Yes.
unitary badges, that way.
I've seen them, but we don't have them completed yet, the backing for those.
Okay,
I do have a question. I was trolling around on our website the other day, and I noticed that our new job description for the director hasn't been replaced on it.
No, it has not yet. I haven't written up in
Because
it.
I looked in both locations.
Right, it has not. I told Vicki yesterday it needs to be formatted to fit the rest of them, and it will go right in.
Oh,
The rest, to fit the rest of the policies.
okay.
Yes.
That's all I have on the branch reports and my comments. Is there any other things that we need to discuss before we call it a good meeting?
Do we have to go into closed session?
We do, we're just gonna end this one and then we'll go. So I'm asking if there's any other questions or concerns that the board has. So we can end our open meeting. So I take it that is there a motion to close our open meeting?
I motion to close down.
There's a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So now we will move into,
We need
We
to,
vote to go into closed.
we did a motion to go in closed session, but you can't do it, we have to do it individually, remember?
I
Okay.
that started yet? That's fine, John.
There you go, never stop.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Janet.
Let me end this,
We
please.
got the owl on, so Al needs to be killed.